Testing. One, two, three. Testing mic two. Testing mic three. All right. Hello, everyone. We're about to get started here. Everyone's waving. So nice. You want to grab a seat? Oh, okay. We're good. We're good. So hello, good evening. Welcome to Shopify. My name is Kat, and this is Giselle. She'll introduce herself in a second. We also have our colleagues Allison online. Hi, Allison. And also Derek. Hi, Derek. Moderating all of the remote stuff happening. It's a pretty cold night in Ottawa, so I'm not judging anyone who decided to stay home and not come to the office. It's freezing. But yeah, welcome to the Dev Degree info session. Who here has been to Shopify before, just out of curiosity in the room? Cool. Okay, there's about more than half of the room. That's great. Shopify, this is a pretty magical place, and we'll talk a little bit about it in a second. But yeah, we're here in downtown Ottawa. There's a great number of people in the room for those of you who are joining remotely. And also, just to give you a bit of a recap, we're going to go over a presentation, Giselle and I, and then we're going to take some questions at the end. So the presentation should be fairly quick because we want to get to all the juicy stuff that you guys are wondering about. So make sure you save those questions to the end. We'll try to flip back and forth between the questions in the room and the questions online. Allison's going to let me know what those are, so we'll try to tackle them. Housekeeping things for people in the room. The washrooms are just kind of behind that Cody's Cafe sign, just directly at the back. So if you have to go to the washrooms, back there. If you like water or anything else, the Dev Degree students, actually some of them are here right now, so they'd be happy to show you. If you're just a Dev Degree student, can you wave? Hello, yes, we have some great people. Thanks, Emma and Will and Nick and Gabby's at the back here for joining us tonight. I'm really happy that you guys are here. All right, did I miss anything? We're good. Okay, introductions. Let's do that first. So my name is Kat Barrett. I work on the Dev Degree team here in Ottawa. I have been working at Shopify for just over a year, so I joined in November 2017. I joined the team as a placement producer, so what that means is I work with all the really cool engineering teams at Shopify to make sure that they are willing to take on Dev Degree students part-time, and we'll get to a little bit about that in a second. But yeah, building relationships with all these amazing people, making sure that they know what Dev Degree is, what the expectations for mentorship are, all that good and juicy stuff. And then Giselle.
Hi, guys. Good evening. Welcome, people online and everywhere. So my name is Giselle Cardinal, and I'm the student life producer. So anything that's non-technical, I sort of help you from the first day you get here. I do your onboarding with you and stick with you your whole 4 years that you're in the program, and just sort of help you get any resources and find people, connect you to anything that you need to be successful in the program.
Awesome. Okay, so we're going to dive right into it. So we are currently at Shopify headquarters in Ottawa right now. If you've never heard of Shopify or don't know what it is, we are an e-commerce platform. So we build software for both small businesses and big businesses to use and be able to sell their product. So we power tons of small businesses, like brick and mortar type stores. We also power massive businesses like Kylie Cosmetics, Nestle, Tesla. There's probably like a bajillion other ones. There's tons and tons and tons of awesome businesses out there. I'm sure if you've ever bought something online, it may have been through a Shopify store without even realizing it. So we are primarily a software development company. So Dev Degree is a way to get students into software development. We don't do gaming or much of anything else other than just software engineering and software development. So yeah, that's what Shopify is. You may have seen that sign for those of you in the room just around the corner there. It's very bright. It's very blinding. If you want to take a selfie with it later, you are more than welcome. It seems to be on social media a lot lately. So yeah, it's our pride and joy. So getting right into Dev Degree. Dev Degree, I'm sure all of you may have already read this. It's on the website. It's everywhere in all of our marketing materials, but it is a 4-year program that combines both a computer science degree and practical hands-on work at Shopify. So everything is completely balanced, and we'll get into that in a second in terms of time at university and also time within Shopify. Yeah, it's 4 years, and and able to be accelerated because you're actually able to earn credits through the work that you do at Shopify, which is pretty awesome. So if you're familiar with maybe a co-op program that's typically 5 years long, it takes a little bit longer just because you're trying to earn all of those credits in order to graduate. So we've been able to condense it into 4 years and allow students to earn credits through the work that they actually do here within the company, which is pretty awesome. The key thing to note, though, is all students work through the summer, so there's virtually no breaks, but there is paid vacation, so we'll get to that in a second. All right, so a little bit about our history. Dev Degree started very, not long ago, actually, just before 2016. It kind of bloomed from this idea of our VP of Engineering. We call him JML. He had this really cool idea when he was working at a company in Australia where all these students were coming in, graduating and coming into work as developers in the company, and they just didn't have the hands-on experience in order to be making an impact quickly. So he actually on his own built this internal training program for them to kind of level them up and get them to where they needed to be in order to work in the industry. And it took a lot of time, took a lot of effort. There was a massive gap between where they graduated and actually them coming into the industry fresh out of university. So when he actually came over to Shopify, which wasn't too long after, he actually sat down with our CEO, Toby, and said, can we do something like that here? Is there a way that we can bridge the gap between education and industry faster? Can we get students actually making impact faster? And Dev Degree was actually part of the solution. So here we are. We took on our first cohort of students in Ottawa in 2016. We took on 11 in total, very small group of people. We definitely had some bumps and bruises in that first year, but came out pretty strong because we were able to take on 14 other students the following year. Quite a few of them are in the room right now, so thank you guys for being here. And then in 2018 was really the last year, wasn't that long ago, the first year that we were able to expand a little bit. So we took on 10 students in Toronto as well as 10 students in Ottawa again. And this year is a bit of a question mark. We're not sure how many students we're going to take on in Ottawa or Toronto, but we're looking probably around those numbers, like the 10 to 15 benchmark. We don't have really hard limits. We really base all of the applications and the people who come through based on the quality of the applicants. So we don't have a hard like 10 and 10 number. It's more of like if we have 11 or 12 amazing applicants, then we're going to take on 11 or 12 applicants. That's the kind of system that we have. And Giselle's going to talk a lot more about the application process. I'm sure that's why a lot of you are joining this session, because you're curious. Maybe you looked at the application and you're here with a lot of questions. So we'll get to that in a moment. So moving right along here, these numbers may also look familiar. They're like plastered all over our website. But the program allows you to gain about 4,500 total hours of work experience at Shopify. That's, in my opinion, pretty unreal. That's a lot of hours actually doing hands-on practical work. You'll also graduate with 4,000 total hours of academic experience. So a little bit more of the work experience side of things, but it's quite balanced evenly. And then, Shopify, the biggest perk of them all is we pay your tuition, also give you a salary, and you also get paid vacation, which is pretty awesome. So you can graduate, hopefully debt-free if you use that money wisely and maybe not blow it all kinds on Amazon stuff. But it's a pretty big perk of joining the Dev Degree program and why we take such small numbers of students every single year. Missing anything? Not at all. Okay. So how it's split is here in Ottawa, our partner university is with Carleton. In Toronto, our partner university is with York. So as I was mentioning before, everything is split pretty evenly. You're spending about 20 hours a week if you decide to stay here in Ottawa at Carleton University, and you're spending about 25 hours a week here in the Ottawa office at Shopify. So the Carleton side of things, what that almost equals is about 3 courses per semester. I think the first semester, there's a lot of computer science courses. You're also working towards like gaining all of those elective credits as well. So, but it averages about 3 courses per semester with no breaks. So you're working all the fall term, the winter term, and the summer term every year for 4 years. Am I missing something? No, I think that's it. And the Shopify side of things. So in your first year, you will be actually training to be a developer here at Shopify, which is pretty exciting. So in that first year, you're learning very specific skills in order to make an impact here as fast as you possibly can, or as fast as we can get you there. And then really in your second, third, and fourth year, those 20 hours a week are actually on teams here. So we put you, that's kind of my job. I put you on development teams within the company that need some support. They need some help. They're looking to have some students grow and learn the Shopify code base in order to level them up. So those teams are really, they vary quite across the board. We have mobile teams here at Shopify. We have lots of like security teams, back-end teams who are primarily a Rails shop. So we work very highly on Ruby on Rails. Some front-end teams too. So if you're into like JavaScript, React, GraphQL, TypeScript, those types of things, that we have a lot of those teams too. So in your second, third, and fourth year at Shopify, you're actually rotating through a new team every 8 months, which is really exciting. So you'll have a completely new team, a completely new mentor every 8 months. So by the time you graduate, you'll have a total of like 4 different, completely different experiences doing completely different things. I think it's pretty cool to note that all the dev degree students currently in our program are actually making impact to Shopify directly. They're helping solve like some serious customer-facing problems. They're actually working on the code base directly. They're shipping code on a daily basis. It's really quite astounding. So the types of projects that students see aren't just things necessarily in the backlog or things that aren't super important. They're actually working on Shopify features and really making an impact within the company. So that's pretty cool. Missing anything? No. Okay. The last little chunk there, the turquoise. So you may be wondering what happens when you graduate. Well, there are no strings attached. You can totally decide as a student to stay at Shopify and continue working here, or you can decide to not. So that ball is totally in your court. You can take a year off, travel, maybe come back, go work somewhere else. There are literally no strings attached whatsoever. We obviously do hope that you stay here and make the use out of your skills, and we hope that you love this company enough to want to contribute to it more. But there's nothing in your contract that says that you have to work here after the 4 years is up. Cool. Giselle.
Yes. All right. The awesome stuff. So like, I'm sure you've heard about Shopify in general and all the cool things that Shopify folk are sort of receive as sort of perks and all sorts of stuff. So as interns, you get sort of special perks that not a lot of other people get. So one thing is right from the very start, you're within a small cohort. Gabby, where'd she go? Do you want to let that person in for me? Thanks. So you're sort of among a very small cohort. So like you saw, like between like 10 and 14 people in your cohort. So you can become very close with that group. And you sort of like move between here and school with them. You study together a lot of the time. For the first year, you're very tight. You see one another like for 20, 25 hours a week. And then after that, after you move on and go into your teams, like I know this group met up for like a study group just before they were here. They were like pairing together. So you really do keep in touch. And then you also have the advantage now that you would have 3 other upper year cohorts. As you're coming in, you get to sort of share their experiences, learn from them, and actually like just sharing their wisdom as to like how to do well in the program. Another great thing is you have mentors. So you have two types of mentors. One is whenever you join a team, you get a placement mentor, and that person is sort of stuck like you like glue, and you sort of, they guide you through your placement and answer all your questions and help you learn on that team. And then you also have your Life at Shopify mentor, which you get in the first little while after you join Shopify in your first year, that you can carry on throughout your time at Shopify. So that's more of a buddy, like a non-technical or technical person that's just sort of going to be there to answer questions and be sort of like a life mentor at Shopify, a buddy. The other thing too is we're super dedicated to your well-being. So, and that's a Shopify sort of thing. It's not just a dev degree thing. So here at Shopify, we have all sorts of support mechanisms to help you emotionally, if you're having trouble at home or at work, if you need coaching, in sort of any part of your degree, will definitely help you. So you're never sort of like left alone and sort of run into trouble for very long, because we're there to sort of help you find the things you need. And that's a big part of my job. Another thing also is you get your MacBook. I see Emma has hers there. So you get a MacBook for the duration of your time at Shopify. So it still belongs to Shopify this whole time, but at least, you don't have to worry if something breaks down on it. We replace it, we fix it for you, and it's sort of your machine to sort of do your work on. Also, there's also like the perks. So we have like a kitchen here at Shopify, fully staffed with a culinary team that cook things from scratch for you every day. So you'll never go hungry. We basically want you to come in, especially as students, ravenous students. So you'll come in and you'll have like breakfast, and we have like a hot breakfast every week. You have lunch and a lot of snacks just hang around all over Shopify. You'll never go hungry. Yes, please. All right, so a lot of people ask, like, what does a day in the life of a dev degree student look like? So you come in, you might get up, you might have a class, you might come right here. So you can start off with breakfast. So that's sitting here waiting for you with like endless amounts of coffee, tea, and other beverages. And then you'll go and work around 4 hours on your team. You might pair with a mentor, brainstorm, sit with them, and then you might go off and do some work on your own. And that's like once you've joined a team. In your first year, you're gonna like come into class. We'll have different exercises and things that you can work independently on, have tutorials, learn from the teachers that are there, have sort of just some class time to brainstorm with students and teachers and get some help if needed. And then at like between 11:30 and 1, you can come and have lunch. So that's like always great. And it's a great time to meet new people. So the reason why we have all these open spaces is so that you can connect with other Shopper folk you never otherwise would connect with. If you're sort of in a government building and you're all sort of in your tiny little cubicles, you never actually meet someone, or you try and avoid them in the elevator. Here, we sort of make a point of joining people together. We have this great little program called Sidekicks, where you can sign up to join, and you get randomly paired with a Shopify person, and you can choose to have coffee or lunch with this person, and you're just like always meeting new people. So we want you to connect and network and learn from other people, and hopefully one day work with them. Also, to get to and fro. So we're sort of centralized for a reason. So Toby chose that he wanted the headquarters to be in a downtown core location. So anybody that didn't have access to a car or whatever could make their way here. It's a nice hub, so anybody can have access to here. So you would be commuting, you can take the canal in the wintertime and skate right to work. I don't know if anyone's actually done it. So we're a big cycling company here. So we have a dedicated bike room downstairs that only Shopper folk can get into, get in and out of. So it's definitely, we love motivating people to sort of stay healthy, happy. We have a massage room. We have a fitness room where we have like one of our wonderful guys who does Brazilian jiu-jitsu and yoga and all sorts of fun stuff. And then after that, you might go to a class, go to a lecture in the afternoon, go to a tutorial where I'm sure a lot of the dev degree students sit right up at the front of the room and sort of ask the teacher questions, because they're safer in numbers, so they can sort of bug the prof there. But it does help because we do have a very close connection with Carleton and York. So Doug Howe, which is in charge of the computer science program over there, we talk with him a lot. So if there's any issues with a class, with a prof, with something related to your education, to try and be flexible, we communicate with him often. So there's always a way through whatever problems you might have. And then also, like I had mentioned, so you collaborate with your fellow students on a lot of stuff. So a lot of things leak from Carleton this way and vice versa. So you'll see a lot of things that connect both your learning here and there. That's like the whole point, is to try and make sure that you progress and you don't just do the technical, you get the hands-on learning as well. All right, so applications for 2019. So they're open, the applications are open. And if you are accepted into Carleton University's Bachelor of Computer Science Honors Program or York's University Bachelor of Science in Computer Science Program for 2019, then you're eligible to apply to Dev degree. So I've talked to most of you here, and a lot of you have already seen that application, so that's good. So we'll be here to answer any old question you have about that. And you'll also see, so I highly suggest if when you apply to the Carleton, especially the Carleton program, you'll have different streams that you can apply to. So make sure you apply to the one that is sort of interesting to you. So don't think about sort of Shopify and how it might work there, because after you're accepted into the program, we slot you into a special program, which is, what is it called again?
Industrial applications for something or other. Yeah. So the Dev degree stream will replace your chosen stream.
Exactly. But so the reason why I say choose the one that you are most interested in, because if you don't end up making it into the program, then at least you've chosen a stream that you can continue on with, and you'll be happy in that stream. And if you have any sort of York specific questions, you can send them to us, and we can get back to you with any questions you may have. All right, so applications are now open. We're already seeing a bunch come in, so it's wonderful. Love looking through them. And they close on February 18th, and then in February, and then soon after that, we're gonna do life stories. So that's a very unique type of interview that we do at Shopify, and there's a lot of chatter about it online. Everybody that works here has been through it. It's a pleasant interview, because you come in ready for like this very intense thing, and all it is you're sitting with someone from recruiting, and you're just going to sit there and you're going to chat about your life. So they're going to ask you a bunch of things about your life. They might ask you stuff about your childhood and what kind of fun things you're into, any hobbies you have. So they're going to sort of just want to know everything there is about you to get to the essence of who you really are. And then after that, then in March, we're going to start sending out offers right into April. So you could get an offer as early as March. And then we start with technical interviews, and we have another interview, which is the program interview. So those two happen on the same day. So you come in, you start with one, and you finish up with the other. So the program interview would be someone from the Dev degree team, so Kat, myself, or a few other people in Ottawa, or remote friendly, depending on where you live. And we just want to get to know more about you. We ask you a bunch of questions, and then you have a technical interview where they're going to have you in a room, and they're going to just get you to think about problem-solving questions. So you don't need to have any sort of technical background to do well in that interview. You just have to be ready to sort of solve a problem and brainstorm and just be open and creative and ask questions and just go with the flow, and you'll do just fine.
I'm going to pipe in for a second.
Yeah.
So I forgot to mention this earlier, but you don't need any computer programming or coding knowledge prior to applying to Dev degree. So if you're worried, if you're seeing that like technical interview part and you're kind of panicking a little bit, don't panic. It's okay if you've never coded a line before in your life. That's totally 100% fine. Maybe we should find a better word for technical. But anyway, what that kind of means is we just want to be able to see your thought process. So we give you a very specific kind of problem, and we want to see you try to solve it at a very high level. So we're not going to throw a computer at you and say, write me this in Ruby. Like that's never going to happen. So we definitely don't want you feeling stressed out that you have to go learn Rails or go learn React or something of the sort in order to do well in your technical interview. It's very much about the way that you think and the way that you solve problems. So I hope nobody is stressed out about that.
Yeah, and we like you might have like a mentor, like someone in that interview, just sort of like guiding you along this way or that. Just go with the flow. So if they ask you some outlandish question, just go with it and be creative, and just don't hold anything back. Just talk through it, and it's going to be okay. It'll be awesome. Yeah. So that brings us to the end of our talk. So I know most of you have applied already to our mailing list, but if you haven't already, please do. Or if anybody you know is interested in the program, get them to sign up and we'll send them all the information. So that's it for us. So what we'll do is we'll start answering all of the questions you might have about the program or the application process. And we'll start with one in person and then online once Kat, here's what they are. Right. Are there any questions in person? Anywhere at all? And we have students here too, so you can ask them questions. They have a mic. Go ahead. All right, so the question was, do I have to link my LinkedIn or GitHub profile into my application and just omit it if I don't have one? So you can link certain things to your application if you think they're relevant to your application. We don't necessarily need you to give us any sort of outward resources, but if you would like to do that, you're more than welcome. Yeah, and you can give like a little explanation as to why you're sort of linking your GitHub in and what specifically you would like us to look at. That would help a lot. But again, not necessary. We don't need sort of any outward material, anything there. So whatever you see in the application, if you were to just fill it out as is, that would be sufficient.
Cool. Okay, we'll take a question from online. So Allison is doing an amazing job at sending these to me. So the first one is, there's a lot, but the first one is, do you have to study work for 4 years continuously, or can you take a semester or two off? So the answer is you have to do the 4 years continuously. Unfortunately, we can't really accommodate semesters on or off. We're definitely looking for folks to be able to participate in the full 4 years all throughout. But the key thing here is you do have paid vacation, which is pretty exciting. So we should really have a slide on that. But how the vacation works is we honor all of the university reading weeks. So there's a reading week in February, also a reading week at Carleton in October. So you don't have to come into Shopify during those weeks if you don't want to. I think some students still do, but that's totally up to them, mostly because there's food here, I think. Is that what you were going to say? Yeah, okay. And then you actually have 10 random days, totally up to you, to choose when you want to take your other days of vacation. So you can take it obviously like one day here or there, or take it maybe in like weeks time. That's totally up to you and what you think is going to work best for your well-being. The other thing, we also have holiday shutdown at Shopify, so you don't need to be coming into the office during roughly the Christmas time. So probably around like December 24th, 23rd, and then not coming back into the office until after New Year's. So that's roughly about a week and a half or so, if I remember correctly. It just happened. I should remember this, but I don't. So all of that kind of hopefully equals enough time for you to relax and recover and replenish if you need to. Do any of the students like want to comment on vacation or like how that works for you? Yeah, Nick, totally.
So, when you said we have 10 vacation days, because we work part-time, to take off a full week of work, we only have to use 2.5 vacation days. So while it is 10 days, that really lasts like 5 weeks or 4 weeks. Yeah, so just want to put that out there.
Just to add to that as well is we have something called flex time. So like I said, we're sort of very flexible company and we want to bring that into Dev Degree. So we know that there's like crunch time for you guys, exams and certain things, or once you join a team, there's just things that clash or something you want to be a part of on your team. So you can give and take your hours. So if you want to work like 5 more hours in your in the week on your team, you can kind of take those back on a later date when things kind of like slow down on your team. So we really sort of leave it up to you to sort of take charge of your calendar and really sort of manage your time in a way that works best for you. So there's certain times, especially in the first year, that we need for you to be here present. But once you join a team, you sort of meld in with them and sort of get to know their workflow and how things work there. There's a lot of teams that are different that want you sort of there every day, all the time, because they have a lot of stand-ups and they discuss with one another a lot during the day. And there's some teams where you might have a lot of remote people. So you might have the opportunity to like work from home and do that a lot. Go ahead, question. So the question was, can you work from another Shopify office? So there's a lot of people here that might have family or friends that live elsewhere. So if you want to sort of head off, especially once you've joined a team, you can maybe like go to, let's say, Toronto and work from there on the Friday and then have the weekend to yourself, but you've already done the traveling there. So Shopify is just one big happy family. So in Ottawa here, we have 2 buildings, but they're considered as one. So you can just move from one building to the other, eat lunch over there, and then work from here and have a team meeting over there. And then a lot of teams are split. So a lot of teams might go and work from one or the other and vice versa, just switch back and forth and help each other out and have sort of yearly, monthly sort of meetings also that happen in different areas.
Yeah, I would say too that it's really dependent on the team that you're joining. So we try to encourage students to be with their team as much as they possibly can, because that's where the majority of the learning will come from, is actually being, sitting beside somebody and being able to share your computer screen or work through a problem. So we do obviously trust everyone within the company to make decisions for themselves and do what's best for them. But we definitely try to encourage, the majority of your work like with your team, but obviously there's flexibility there. Yeah. All right, so we'll take another question from online. The next one is the Dev degree program just for developers, or can it include those interested in data science, machine learning, and or AI? So the answer is that Dev degree is a computer science degree. So you are earning everything to do with computer science. The cool thing, though, is that we do have a lot of teams here within Shopify that focus on these areas. So we do have teams that do machine learning. We do have teams that are data science focused. So you may end up on a team that gets to work on those types of problems. But ultimately, when you graduate from Dev degree, you're earning a degree in computer science. And so that is not as specific, I guess, to maybe other types of degrees out there as a degree in computer science. All right, question in the room. Go ahead. All right. So in the past, that has been a thing. So we've had people sort of hand in projects and things like that, but that is no longer what we're doing for applications. So if an applicant does have something interesting that they wanted to show us, just hopefully it's something that's very relevant and they can speak to whatever they're handing in. So we don't ask for anything like that to be handed in. But if you find it really speaks to your experience and you can really connect it to what we're asking on the application, then we would love to see it. But again, no pressure to do so. Cool. All right, another question online. I'm going to Carleton right now, I'm going to Carleton for university, hopefully for software engineering. Am I still eligible for Dev degree, or is this strictly available only for computer science students? This is unfortunately only for computer science students. I'm just going to pull up this slide here. So you need to be able to apply and be accepted into either Carleton or York's computer science program. Unfortunately, maybe in the future, maybe we'll expand outside from computer science, but for right now, you need to be applying to either or both of those programs in order to be accepted into Dev degree.
Awesome. And I think there was a question back here.
Yeah. I'm in computer science at Carleton as of like weeks ago. Can I still apply?
Yes.
That's a great question.
Repeat the question, though.
Yeah, so this person here said they've already applied to the Carleton Computer Science program and for 2 weeks now, and they're just wondering if they can still apply. Yes, of course you can. So you being accepted into the program gets you in, and like you are then eligible to apply for this program. So you can go ahead and hand in your application and see where it goes.
You started in January. Is that what you meant? Or yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. What are you in currently right now? Okay. Yeah. So as long as you are accepted into the 2019 and then into one of those options, then yes, you can totally apply for dev degree. Our kind of our general rule of thumb or guidelines, rather, I don't want to say it's a rule, but if you are like a first year student going into your second year as of September, then you for sure 100% can apply to dev degree. If you're a second year student going into your third year in September, dev degree might not be the program for you because you probably already have a ton of courses under your belt. So it sounds like you just started, right? So you probably don't have those courses quite under your belt yet. So yeah, you're more than welcome to apply totally.
Yeah, and also a thing to remember is, let's say one of the reasons why we don't accept like third and fourth year is because we would get you to start right at the beginning and do the 4-year program. And someone who maybe has all that school under their belt might just have all that time left over with nothing to fill it with. So we want to make sure you get the full experience from the first year to the last and get to work on a team and and sort of have the same experience as everyone else going through.
Cool. We'll take another one from online.
I think Nick has something to add.
And for people who are in their upper years, we also have this intern program that you can apply for. And for that, you basically just go on a team right away for 4 months. So that's another option for people who are in the upper years.
Yeah, and that you can find on the Shopify website. They put up applications as soon as they open, and anyone can apply to that for sure.
And it's full time and full pay, which is pretty cool. All right. Does dev degree work for transfer students who might not be doing a full 4 years at Carleton due to transfer credits? So the answer to that is we still need you to take the first year of the program and complete all of what we call the practicum credits. So that means that you're earning credits for the work here that you do at Shopify. So if you have credits maybe from previous experiences at school, you can definitely transfer them over, but we need you to be taking those core computer science classes and earning the practicum credits from Shopify. So dev degree students do take electives, so you could actually transfer your elective credits if you have those types of credits under your belt. Cool. Another question in the room?
So yes, we try our best to make sure. Oh, sorry. The question is there's a bunch of steps to the application process, and if you don't make it past a certain step in the application process, will you hear back? And the answer is yes. So we do sort of send you, either phone you or send you an email, depending on what stage you're at, to tell you where you're at, either if you're moving on or if, unfortunately, you won't be moving on. And I encourage anyone who doesn't move on, again, to apply to the intern program, because they're always looking for people, and it's like they're a very hungry program, always looking for a lot of people all the time. So it's definitely a way to be able to work at Shopify at some point.
Does that answer your question? Cool. All right, another one from online. Does Shopify aim to get a certain percentage of international students this year? We don't have a certain number at the moment, but we consider international students on a case-by-case basis. So if we find some really amazing students from across the seas, we will for sure try to find a way to accommodate them. International students are 100% encouraged to apply to dev degree for sure, but we're taking them on a case-by-case basis.
And if there is someone that does apply internationally or just really far from a Shopify office, I'll just say it again, we do our interviews remotely, so you don't have to be afraid of missing out on that opportunity. So we do all of the interviews remotely to make sure that there's no barrier there. Oh. So what does the ideal candidate look like? Looking at the three of you guys there, I'm just wondering. So basically, when we're reading through all these applications, we're looking for people who stand out and who have filled out their application with sort of all of like just getting to know them. So once we read an application and we really know you and we really understand where you're coming from, the amazing things that you've done, whether you're just coming right out of high school or if you're a mature student, we want to see someone who's like well-rounded, who's had to deal with like a lot of stuff in their lives, if someone who's participated a lot of either community events or if they're passionate about something. So Shopify really loves people who are passionate about something, who have sort of a history of being motivated, liking working in teams, will fail forward. So if you come across like any sort of obstacles, that you're going to be able to be resilient and be able to deal with them and use it in a positive way. So whenever you're filling out your application, we just want to hear all about you. Get a friend or a family member to help you sort of like look over it and make sure that you tell us all about the things that you've done. Sometimes it's hard to talk about yourself and all the things and brag a little bit. So we don't want you to brag too much, but we want to hear all the wonderful things that you've been up to.
I'm curious what the students think too. Like, who is the ideal dev degree candidate? Just out of curiosity from your perspective.
I feel like sometimes people, when they're applying, will kind of have this robotic kind of list of things that they put out, which doesn't really make them seem very different from other candidates. And like you said, you want to kind of get to know you as a person. So what makes you different, even if you feel like it may not be related to tech at all, maybe it's like a hobby you like, a video game you play, just cool things about you that really define you as an individual. And then also having, again, a passion for technology would also be nice, but kind of like what you were saying when you said, don't be afraid to share who you are. They want to see that you're your own person, because in dev degree, you really are going to be shaping yourself.
Yeah, and in the application, we do mention how you think that your experiences will best help you in your degree at Shopify. So you can speak to that. So like if you've done some creative thing, you can sort of tie it in. Even if it's not technical, you can say, I've done some artistic thing, and I really think it'll help me in dev degree because of A, Y, Z, X, or whatever. So it's just, we just want you to talk about your experiences. It does not have to be technical. Again, we don't care if you haven't created your own app and it has like 1,000 downloads. We don't care about that. We just want to know that you have like a hunger for solving problems and that you enjoy learning. Because after all, you're here to learn. A lot of people, sometimes might apply here thinking that they might just come here and like open a store and be entrepreneurs. So although we love entrepreneurs, our first motivation into bringing you into the program is really that you are here to learn computer science and to gain as much through the program as possible from that angle.
Cool. All right. We just took one from the room, right? Did we? Yes, we did. Yes. Oh my gosh, my memory is so bad. Okay, so one from online. I just applied to York University, so I haven't heard from them yet. I will likely get a reply by March. Can I still apply to the dev degree program first before the acceptance? And the answer is yes, 100%. Please apply. We want to see your application. We want to learn more about you. We want to read everything that you've written. So if you are accepted and you get through that whole application process successfully, our offer to you will be conditional upon the acceptance of the university. So if everything checks off from the university and everything checks off on our end, then yes, you are in the program. Yeah. All right, another question in the room.
Are the life story interviews like directly after the application's closed or closer to March with end
Good question. So when exactly do the life story interviews happen? Yeah. Remind me of the dates. It's I know the technical and program interviews are closer to the end of March. So they're kind of like bleeding in a little bit to the first week of April. So I believe the life stories are roughly maybe beginning of March. Yeah.
Exactly. And sort of there's no way to really prepare for them. So it could happen like the day after you press send on the application. It's just basically there's like what you're bringing to the table is just who you are. So you can't sort of like prepare like a draft or like some sort of interesting thing. So you're just coming and just talking about yourself with another person, like a chat format.
This is actually a good follow-up question from online. How long does each interview go on for? So in March, the technical and the program interviews, those are two separate interviews, and both of them are 45 minutes long, and they will be back-to-back, I believe. So you'll do the program interview like with us, with somebody from our team, and then the technical interview with the developers, and both are about 45 minutes long-ish. So you'll be able to get out of here relatively easily. Normally, I think the dev interviews here are about a whole day or something ridiculous. It's like a 6-hour endeavor. We're not putting that upon you. This is only 45 minutes each, which is pretty nice. Any other questions in the room? Cool. Okay, maybe we'll take another one online. I didn't read this one yet. People, you said that there were people who will be accepted in March. Do those people not do the second interview? Also, what makes the people chosen stand out? So I think maybe we just might have misspoken there. So the folks in March, you have to go through the technical and the program interviews in order to get like an offer sent to you. So it's not, maybe that person was a bit confused that maybe offers get sent first and then the interviews happen after. Those interviews happen first and then the offers get sent to you after those two things. Yeah. And offers will be sent out in April, or roughly end of March, beginning of April-ish. All right, any other questions in the room about things? There's a lot of people commenting, so I'm trying to like follow along here. Do we need to email a cover letter and resume separately? So the answer is no email, please. We want you to go through the process that is online through that applications page. So please do not email our info account. But yes, we want you to upload your files into the Lever application. So there's actually like 2 pages to the application if anyone has clicked all the way through. When you click apply now from the Dev Degree website, it takes you directly to a Lever page. So that's a system that we use at Shopify to track candidates. So you'll be able to do all of that uploading and filling out your information there, and then you'll be in sort of the Shopify system. But that's only one part of it. Is that what you were going to say? Because there's a second part that's very, very key. So the actual Dev Degree application itself is a separate link from that Lever page. So make sure you're reading all the instructions on that page and you find that link to the actual Dev Degree application, because that will direct you to all the stuff that we want to know and all that juicy stuff that's probably going to take you a while to fill out purposely.
Yeah, and one thing I just wanted to tie to that is a lot of people ask if I want to apply to York and Carleton, do I have to hand in 2 applications, and are there different people that are going to see these applications? So you hand in 1 application, and then within there you'll see like what you can choose your preferences if you want to choose Carleton or York, or does it matter as a preference as like to which university you would like to attend and what city you would like to be in. So you choose that, and then all of us here and at York, we look at these applications together as a team. So we'll see all of the York and Carleton applications come through, all of our eyeballs see them, and then yeah, and that's how it works. So only 1 application, doesn't matter what city you're applying to.
Cool. Yeah, question in the room. Good question. So can you start an application, save it, and then continue it later? I believe the answer is no. There's not actually a save button on either the Lever or the other application. But I think you could probably keep it open as a tab. I don't want to like say anything in case someone's computer crashes and then they lose all their work. Yeah, I would highly recommend banking, at least a couple of hours, maybe even longer if you need it, to really sit down with the application and spend some time actually going through the questions. And I would say it's definitely not I wouldn't recommend it's an easy 10-minute type endeavor. It's something that's going to take you a little bit of time.
If you would like to email us, we can confirm that because I'm not sure if you can edit and jump back into it. So just email us and we'll send you the answer back to that one.
Yes, and one thing I just remembered too is if you submit your application and there are things that you forgot or want to add to, you can always email the info@devdegree.ca account. Just say like, oh, I forgot to attach this, or I, did this instead, or whatever, and we can update your application if you just send us an email. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. Cool. All right. I know I'm trying to stay on top of this. All right, this is a good question, I think, for the students. How common is it for dev degree students to be involved with extracurriculars at Carleton or York? For example, sports teams, clubs, etc. Does anyone want to take that?
Yeah, so you'll definitely have a lot of time to be able to do extracurriculars if that's what the person asking the question was worried about. Like I do a bunch of different sports. I also go on events with Carleton as well. We just went to a conference a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, you definitely do have time to enjoy like a typical student life, even if you are in the intensive dev degree program.
Yeah, like honestly, my roommate is in engineering and I kind of feel bad for the guy. Like if I compare my schedule to his, it's pretty similar, or his is a bit worse than mine. So yeah, you totally have time to have fun, do standard university stuff, the sorts.
Cool. Yes, I would say just, as somebody, and Giselle too, like interacting with the students on a very regular basis, you do have free time as a student from what we have gathered anyways. It's not like you're feeling super swamped. There are definitely like up times and maybe more down times, especially I would like Will's laughing and like maybe exam time is not a great time for you guys. Yeah, there's definitely room to be able to participate in extracurriculars for sure.
And to add to that too, is that Shopify is like a big culture of like people who are sporty, artistic, creative. So because sometimes it's sort of like hard to find like external things to do because of time or commuting or whatever. So if like after a class you have here, you can like run and meet somebody that's like involved in like a Shopify sports team. We have a lot of those Shopify sports teams. There's people involved in like art. We have a band room here, so you can like jam with people in the band room downstairs. There's a lot of musically inclined people in dev degree, which I found out is very interesting. And there's like people get together and do like paint nights and all sorts of fun stuff. So there's always an opportunity to sort of just relax and switch off school and do some extracurriculars for sure.
Cool. Any other? Oh, Will, yeah.
Yeah, on the subject of like cool stuff to do at Shopify, we had this thing where sometimes one of the employees here will like host like a little workshop on how to make latte art or how to use 3D printers that we have here or some of the laser cutters we have and all that jazz.
The piano that you guys are sitting by. Yeah, there's no shortage of things to do, that's for sure. And I actually just, Allison, gave me an answer to your question about editing, and the answer is no, you cannot edit the application directly. So yes, we have a final answer from her. Any other questions in the room? Yeah.
Somewhat not related to this, but are Shopify employees
Oh my gosh, great question. So our Shopify employees are allowed to use the espresso machine just behind all the folks sitting in the room right now. Yeah, it is. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah. So this Cody's Cafe behind you here is named after someone who used to work here and who was Java obsessed. So the designers designed this coffee bar with him in mind. So yes, so this is one of two areas within here that you can sort of make a beautiful cup of coffee / tea / cup of hot cocoa, perfect for this time of day. So yes, so there's kitchenettes on every floor. So this, the architect designed Shopify to be a lot like home. So it was actually like a residential architect who designed it. So there's an architect in the room back there. And yeah, so it's supposed to feel very homely and comfortable. So you're not in sort of a sterile sort of fluorescent lit space. It's sort of like you should feel as comfortable here as you are at home, and people take that to the nth degree. So Emma, that was here earlier, had her Birkenstocks and socks on. So you can dress comfortably. You can dress however you feel most comfortable. And if you wear a suit and a tie, you will definitely stand out walking down the halls.
But it's not discouraged. You can wear a suit and a tie if you feel comfortable in that. All right, next remote question is, do we need to include references? If so, where do we put them in our application? So the answer to that is we're going to ask you for your references if you're contacted for the interview. So the life story interview, you'll probably get an email from us saying we would like you to move forward with the life story. At that point, we will check in about your references. Cool. Any other questions in the room? Awesome. Okay, well, I think the next one is a good question for the students, if anyone wants to take that one. The question is, what's a typical day like for a dev degree student? So Giselle kind of went over it, but maybe you guys can be more honest, blunt, up to you.
I would love to hear from Gabby over there. We haven't heard from her. She's part of our new cohort. So these two gentlemen here are part of the 2017 cohort. This is a 2018 cohort. Oh, yes, and Stefano too.
Okay. So I think a good example is what we do on Fridays. So we'll come here for breakfast, for bagels, and then this Friday we have a pairing session. So we're in the middle of our databases course right now. So we'll be kind of doing a tutorial, but like in pairs. And then we'll have lunch, and then we have a class at Carleton. So we bus over to Carleton, and yeah, then we do class there and go home and probably do more work. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, so for me, since I'm on a team, my day looks like I get to the office usually at around 9, and we have what's called a stand-up, where basically everyone on the team stands up and says what you worked on the day before, what you're going to work on today, any issues you're having. And then after that, I'm kind of working on my team, doing whatever I need to do, whether it's individual work or pairing with my mentor on something. And then usually, like, as soon as lunch is ready, like on the minute, I leave to go get lunch. And it's always very good because, like Giselle said, we have a culinary team who makes great stuff. And then after lunch, if I have a class, I'll end up busing to Carleton, which takes about like 25, 30 minutes. And we usually go as a group, and I'll leave at the same time. But yeah, that's like a typical day. There are different events that the Computing Ed team hosts to teach us extra skills. Like we had a machine learning workshop one time. We had developers come in and share their skills with us. So we do have cool stuff like that sometimes. But yeah, typical day, work, lunch, school, repeat.
I think I forgot to mention too that the classes at Carleton, you're actually a part of the computer science stream as a whole. So it's not just like the dev degree cohorts going to the Carleton classes and there's only like 10 of them sitting in a massive lecture hall. They're actually joining like all of the other students who are part of just the regular computer science stream. Did you guys want to talk about that at all? Like what your experience is like in those classes and how those go?
Yeah, so generally, I'll be honest, we kind of hang together, but you're totally free to, you know, venture out of the group. A lot of us have friends outside of dev degree and stuff, you know, mingling with the rest of the Carleton society. Yeah.
Cool. Straightforward enough. Yeah. Thanks. Honest. Stefano, do you want to add to anything? No. Up to you. Okay, that's fine. Any other questions in the room? I think the last one was online. You're curious about? Cool. Yeah. Do Dev degree students get Shopify swag? Anything in particular you're hoping for? Like sweater? Yep, sweater, backpack. Will's sporting, and I'm also sporting the Dev degree T-shirt. So we have not only Shopify swag, but we also have Dev degree swag. So you get double the swag, which is pretty cool. Yeah, what else do we have? We have stickers are cool. I don't know. There's a ton of stuff. The answer is yes. Yes, you do get Shopify swag. Yeah. Cool.
And then there's like new kinds of swag that come out. Like we have like yearly get together with the whole company. So there's like always new stuff trickling down the line and just fun stuff that you can make yourself too. And yeah, we have these things called fobs that get us in and out. And there's like actually people who've like made wristbands for them. And yeah, so lots of fun stuff happening.
Cool. The next question is pretty interesting. We haven't seen one like this before. So I run 2 drop shipping businesses on Shopify, so using the Shopify platform. Am I allowed to run those businesses if I am working at Shopify, possibly in the Dev degree program? The answer is yes, totally. We would never shut that down, I don't think. So what's kind of cool as an employee of Shopify, you have the perk of being able to start your own Shopify store and run your own business if you like. So yes, we definitely encourage, if you want to continue those businesses moving forward, that's not a conflict of interest. What you do in your free time is up to you.
I'll just add that especially in your first year and as sort of like work piles up, it's a really good thing if you are able to sort of like ramp down that sort of side of things to be able to concentrate fully on Dev degree, because it is a heavy workload. Maybe for the first couple months, people might think, oh, this is quite easy, especially if you might have some technical background, but then it gets really, really, your calendar's full of stuff happening here at school, so your calendar's packed. So if you are dedicating a lot of time to your side hustle, a lot of people at Shopify have that, but you have to be very flexible and realize that Dev degree is going to take up most of your time.
Any questions in the room? Yeah. Is it possible to fail a course like at Shopify or at Carleton? At Carleton? That's a really great question and something that we haven't really touched upon yet. So everything to do with the Carleton academics, our team, the Dev degree team at Shopify, does not see or know about. So if you are failing a class, there's no way for Giselle to know that unless you disclose that to her personally. It's totally up to you to do that. Obviously, you have to be, maintaining your spot in computer science at Carleton in order to be in the Dev degree program. So in good standing, yes, thank you, Giselle. So if they come to us and they say, hey, like we're letting, that such and such student go, then obviously you can no longer be a part of the Dev degree program moving forward. But from, anything to do on the Carleton side, that's totally up to them and their decision. We don't know how students are doing at Carleton, and I don't think we need to know. So leave it at that. Yeah.
So a couple things. So one thing is, let's say you get into Dev degree, you're at Carleton or York, and you decide on your own, or Shopify decides that you're not going to be no longer with Dev degree. You can still continue at Carleton and finish your degree there. So you're still able to continue and finish and get your diploma there. Also, we don't look at anything Carleton related, nor do we look at grades whenever you're applying to the program. But if you are struggling, we have a lot of like sort of tripwires. We have like weekly reports and different things where you can tell us how you're doing to the level that you want to tell us. And you can reach out for help if we see from a third party that you're not doing well. If you tell us directly that you're not doing well at Shopify or at Carleton, we can definitely have conversations with both sides and work together in order to adjust your schedule, get you resources, help you out. So our team is dedicated to get you to clear the path to learning and to make sure that you succeed in the program. So there shouldn't be any reason why, besides your own sort of initiative, why you shouldn't do well in the program.
Cool. So we'll take the next one online. This is a great question. Will a mature student have equal chance to be accepted into Dev degree as a high school student? Yes. Oh my gosh. definitely. If you are a mature student hoping to make a change in your life, we would love to see your application. Definitely, for sure. What's kind of cool, and we didn't really talk about this actually, is our whole team does a blind application screening process. So when you are submitting your applications, maybe you already have, we actually don't see your name or your school or your city or anything else that might identify you as a person. We're only reading the answers to the questions that you're submitting, and also reviewing your the computational thinking questions, the problem solving questions at the end. So that allows us to screen candidates fairly, from what we think anyway, and we don't actually filter your name on, or we don't really know much about you other than what you tell us in the application, until we do have to turn those filters on in order to email you your acceptance or moving forward with the life story. So yes, for sure, if you are somebody who's like a little bit hesitant to apply, or maybe in a different part of your life, for sure we encourage you to apply. Definitely, you have the same chance as anyone else. So yeah. Any other questions in the room? Cool. Okay, I'll go. Yeah, there's a few more. Yeah. Do high school grades contribute to your application? So the answer to that is, from our perspective, no. That is completely up to and between you and the university. So obviously, just going back to this slide here, you have to be, for Carleton, accepted into that Bachelor of Computer Science honors program. So the key word here being honors. So you have to meet the academic requirements for that program. But when you're filling out your dev degree application, we don't ask for any of that information. You just have to make sure that you're meeting the requirements from the university's perspective, and their requirements asking you to be accepted into their program. So yeah, that's it. Any other questions in the room? Yeah. Yeah, great question. So I guess basically to sum it up, like what is the practicum credit and how does it work exactly? And how does it work like transferring credits wise, or how many credits is it worth? Yeah. Maybe do one of the students want to talk about the practicums? Yeah, I will. Go for it.
Yeah, so the practicums are basically pass-fail. They're worth 0.5 credits, which is like a full semester Carleton course. And I think we get them for the fall and the winter semesters. I don't think we get a credit for the summers. But yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. It's only pass-fail, so it won't contribute to your CGPA, but the rest of it, it's just like any other course. What do you mean? Oh, sorry. The practicum, it's not an actual class. It's basically just credit for your work here at Shopify.
Can you guys talk about the report? Is that okay? Yeah, just talk about like how you're actually earning that credit.
Yeah, so the practicum is basically a report that you write at the end of each semester. And on this report, you say different things like how did your courses at Carleton connect to the work you did at Shopify, different experiences you had at Shopify, which you think are relevant to your academics at Carleton. Basically, you just answer a bunch of questions about what you did over the past term, and then based on that, they reward you with a credit.
Does that answer your question? Yes, perfect, great, awesome. All right, another one from online. Just make sure I'm on the right part here. So does dev degree start in September or during the summer? So if you are accepted into the 2019 cohort, either in Toronto or Ottawa, you'll be starting in September. So every single cohort of dev degree has started in September and will likely continue starting in September. So as much as we would love to see you here in July, you'll have to wait a little bit.
So what we do is we actually bring you in the last week of August. So last week of August, you're ours, you're only at Shopify. And then what that does is that we're not interrupting with your sort of first week of all the fun sort of frosh week at university. So we take you, we have a week of onboarding, we teach you all the things, all the ropes, and we shove your brain full of knowledge as to what's to come in future months. And then we send you off to university. And that's when you start here as well in classes. But at least we've sort of taught you all the beginning stuff and onboarded you.
Cool. Any other questions in the room? Awesome. I'm just going to keep going down this massive list that I have in front of me. Okay, so the next question is, how many international students and or mature students have you previously accepted? I'm not entirely sure if we can disclose that, just based on privacy reasons. Maybe Allison can correct me. But it's... We do have both, yes. So it's not like we don't take on either of those folks. We have accepted both international and mature students in the past. Maybe she will give me the correction. I'll come back to this one. Next question is, what kinds of projects are students working on at Shopify? So do you guys want to take that one? What kinds of projects are you working on?
Yeah, so do they mean like projects working on the teams or, yeah, so you're going to be working on actual projects, the actual products that Shopify is going to ship and that merchants are going to see. For example, I'm on the application security team, so I'm working on some of our authentication systems, like our login systems and sign-up systems.
So what I'm working on isn't necessarily facing our merchants, but more of our employees. So I build tools that our data analysts can use to do their work better and manage kind of the data that they're working with. Stefano, would you like to share what you do on your team?
I work on the Android app for Shopify, so it allows merchants to manage the store from the phone.
Those are all like really good one-liners, I think. That's awesome. Can you give any examples of maybe like one of the hardest things that you've had to do at Shopify, like one of your most difficult projects? It might be nice to hear a failure story.
Yeah, just recently I've been working on fixing some of the slow queries inside our applications. They're just really inefficient and involves getting close close with active records, some of the libraries that Shopify uses. And it's really interesting and challenging, but it's something I haven't really seen before. But I've learned about this stuff through Carleton and through the course at Shopify. So it's cool to finally apply these skills that I've learned on an actual problem.
So the question was the biggest challenge or adversity we faced. On my team, I had to create something that would look at employees who were previously at Shopify but no longer there and delete their account for something. But because of a small issue that I made, I ended up deleting active employees' accounts on this one service. So I had to go ahead and fix that. But you kind of grow from these little mistakes, and I learned what I did wrong, and I had support from my mentor and stuff to improve it. So yeah, it's all better now. But you'll definitely face challenges and make some mistakes from time to time, but they're valuable to learn from.
Nick, I feel like you should do a talk on that experience. Like, I'm so curious what happened. Just everyone's wiped from the company. Steph, did you want to? No? Cool. Okay. That's okay. Any other questions in the room? We have about 3 or 4 more online. Anything else that you're thinking about? Cool. Okay. Next one is, I haven't seen any costs associated with the application to the dev degree program aside from Carleton fees. Is there a hidden application fee? Interesting question. We haven't gotten that one before. The answer is no. There are no hidden costs. There's nothing underlying that webpage or anything. You're not going to be directed to PayPal and pay us $1,000. I promise you, there are no hidden costs.
Yeah, and as long as you remain like a full-time student and not a part-time student, you still benefit from all of the university's benefits, so bus pass and all those like medical benefits. If you choose to go part-time for whatever reason because you have credits from previous degree, then you might not receive those things. But in terms of tuition and all that, it's like all paid for. You just come here. You might receive some mail asking you to pay your tuition, but that can all be ignored. It's all on our side. You don't have to do anything in regards to paying tuition at all.
Great question. Yeah, we haven't gotten that question before. Anyone else? Yeah.
So if you receive a scholarship, what with that?
I'll take that one.
So that's a good one because, okay, so the question is if you receive a scholarship when you apply, what happens to that? So you get to keep that money. So that money is yours. So we have nothing to do with that. We're not sort of like clawing it back in any way. So if you receive a bursary or anything like that, free money, it is yours to keep. So that's bonus money for you.
Cool. Good question. Up next, how many people look at each application? So without going into too many details, it's more than one person. So it might be, I guess I can't really disclose that much, but it's definitely more than one person going through each and every application. We all spend a lot of time going and reading through every single sentence. And obviously we are human beings and you're getting to know us now. So you can imagine us sitting at our computers looking through every single thing.
Yeah, and just to say that, like, we want to avoid like bias at all costs. Like, we all have innate biases, so we really try and diversify like the eyes looking at your application. So there is more than one person looking at it, and through like the life story, the technical interview, and the placement interview, you're going to have a lot of people in contact with you. So you're not going to be just seen by one person, and not one person will be sort of judging whether you're going to pass or fail through the program.
Yep, you're going to meet lots of interesting people. Yeah, not just us. Any other questions in the room? Cool. Okay, I think we're getting close to the end here. I didn't think we would ever reach this. Okay, what kind of technical or programming experience is considered valuable in applications? So just want to reiterate that you don't need to have any programming experience in order to apply to Dev Degree. We don't expect you to have like written any code prior to applying. That's not an expectation whatsoever. What we want to focus on is definitely like your thought process and how you solve problems using those questions near the bottom of the application. So I would focus on if that's a gear in your brain that you want to grow, maybe try practicing a few logical or brain types apps. I think there's tons of them out there. Try to get that brain moving in preparation to maybe answer those questions. That's what we're more concerned about. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And in the applications, you have like the technology sort of field where we want to hear about like what interests you in technology, what sort of sparks your interest in sort of Dev Degree, what is the thing that's like pulling you in this direction. So it could be experiences you have had with technology, or it could just be talking about what you find fascinating about it, or just love and enjoying like problem solving and that sort of thing. So not any experience required, but we just really want to see that interest there and where it's coming from.
All right, we have 2 quick wins, and then if you guys want to chat with us in the room, we'd be more than happy to chat with you. All right, first quick question. Do you pay tuition for international students too? So the answer to that is we're deciding that on a case-by-case basis. So the number of international folks that we bring into Dev Degree is on a case-by-case basis. If it's an astounding case and we think that person will be a great asset to Dev Degree, then yes, we're paying full international tuition. Last question here. Do you pay for housing if we choose to stay at residence? Short answer is no. Do you want to follow up with that? Just the answer is no, sadly.
So no. And a lot of people like outside of Ottawa, living in Ottawa, do sometimes choose to live in residence. And then the next year they might not like that so much. So they might move out of residence, sometimes move in with like fellow Shoppa folk, people in Dev Degree or elsewhere. So you do have, your choice of where you would like to live. But we definitely do not fund that. We don't pay for housing.
Cool. I think we're at the end of my remote questions. Does anyone have any last questions in the room that might be useful to just get everyone to hear? Yeah.
So, how workload year round? A lot of times, taking classes full time.
Yeah, great question. So how intense is the workload and what does your year kind of look like as a whole? Yeah. So in Dev Degree, you are expected to work throughout the summer. So you're working all year round. We talked a little bit about the vacation days. So you do have, your reading weeks off from Carleton or York, and also like your 10 paid vacation days on top of our holiday shutdown around December. But yes, you're working both the fall semester, the winter semester, and the summer semester. So there's no real breaks, or no like continuous breaks, I guess, for more than however many you want to use your vacation days long. But maybe the students can talk to that too. Like, what's your workload like? Is it overwhelming? How do you juggle those like 3 courses per semester and just your day basically?
Yeah, so in the fall and winter semester, it's definitely pretty busy because you're doing a lot of the big computer science courses that Carleton offers during those times. In the summer, Carleton doesn't offer as many courses and will relate to computer science. So we take usually our electives during that time. And I was speaking for myself, I find that the electives are a lot easier to manage since they offer a lot of online stuff during the summer. So I think I only ever had to go into an actual class like once a week in the summer because I took online courses. And but even in general, even though it is a lot of stuff you're doing quickly, you're taking the same courses mostly with 10 or however many other people. So if you ever do face an issue that's taking a lot of time, you literally just have to ask someone else in the group and they probably figured it out. So while it is a lot of work, you have a lot of support, which makes it feel like it's not overwhelming.
And I'll just, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, just to add to that, and I find that the workload is definitely manageable, like year round. You definitely have time to have a life outside of work and school. And again, as Nick said, you're surrounded by really smart people who are doing the same problems you're doing, so you have a lot of support there too.
And nothing is completely set in stone. So definitely in your first year, when you were setting you through your learning path, your training path, we have courses that we deliver from the Shopify side that might sort of clash with exams and other things that are happening. So through those weekly reports that we receive from all of the students, we get to hear back if there's sort of like an overwhelming, stressful period for people, or they're spending over their allotted 20, 25 hours on something that we've given them to do. We definitely have a conversation about that and try and tweak and alleviate those pressure points so that things can sort of be put off a little bit or helped in some way. And also we really have, like, we try and have a high trust battery with people here. So if you're sick, if you have something going on in your family or private life, we definitely try and accommodate you as best as we can, and keep the dialogue open with the university to try and help you get through whatever it is that is sort of like stopping you from moving forward with your learning. So we really try and remove any obstacle there is in your way, so you can just like come here and learn, not have to worry about food, about tuition, about having to get a job or anything like that. We just try and let you just come here and learn for 4 years.
Does that answer your question? Yeah, okay. That was like a long-winded, there we go. Okay, good. And I actually just got another quick win question. Do you get any sick days? The answer is yes. We want you to be working healthy, and yes, you can take sick days. And the other kind of one meaty question, which is interesting, and maybe we'll end it on that, is how is problem solving done over a video call for international students, or maybe just folks who need to do their interview remotely? So the answer to that is it's just a discussion with the people who are interviewing, but you're also welcome to like share your screen. So if you wanted to use like some kind of drawing program to explain, or imagining that you had a whiteboard and and you wanted to explain your thought process, you could definitely do that. It's fairly easy, and we use that feature all the time, sharing screens. You could also just show like a piece of paper or something, whatever you feel most comfortable with, but the meat of that interview will be discussion based. So yeah. All right. Okay, we're at 7:57 here, Eastern time, and maybe we'll end it on that. So if any other folks in the room would like to chat with either Giselle or myself, we are here to answer any questions you may have. There's also Nick, Will, Stefano, and Gabby at the back. If you would like to chat with any of the dev degree students, they'd be more than happy to chat with you.
And if you think of anything else after this session, feel free to send us an email, and we'll be happy to answer it. I know some questions might pop up while you're trying to fill in the application. That's completely fine. So feel free to email us.
Cool. Thank you all for coming, and good luck on your application. Thank you.